Feel it, feel it, feel it. Why don't you see it? Do 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 do. Shout it out. Do 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 do. Wendy, 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 Wendy. Hey you guys, it's your girl Big Each. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching Black People Watch. And this week we are going to review the Wendy Williams movie. So let's get into the plot, shall we? We shall. The Wendy Williams movie follows the highs and lows Wendy has experienced throughout her years, from her scrappy upstart days in urban radio to the success of her own syndicated talk show. Beginning. The Wendy Williams movie is directed by Darren Grant. He's done some music videos with Beyonce, Jay-Z, and T.I., Common, many more. He's also directed episodes of The Chi, God Friended Me, Queen of the South, Empire, and Suits. So he's very established. The movie was also written by Lee Davenport, black woman, very pretty family woman. I follow her on Instagram, and Scarlett Lacey. Okay, so let's just talk about it. Wendy is played by Sierra Payton, and Kelvin, aka Kevin Hunter, is played by Morocco Amari. Isn't that a great name, Morocco? I love that name. And I'm not going to go all into the movie. It was a great movie. I enjoyed it. But if you haven't watched the movie, go watch it, come back, because we have a lot to discuss. Okay, so I'm a Wendy fan, so let me just be upfront about that. I've been following her career since forever. She has written several books and I've read almost all of them. So I know a lot about her. I respect her hustle. I respect her as a journalist and everything that she's done. She's a trailblazer, so I admire her immensely. I am, however, a person that will check her when she's being mean-spirited and she is wrong. You know, peanut gallery, just cheering her on when, you know, I don't think she's right about something. Back in the day, we had this picnic every year called the Greek. This was way before it became Freaknik. We wasn't a part of that. But we did go to the Greek and we would have a great time, and guys from New York and all over would come to Philly. This was in the early and mid 90s. And they would tell us about a lady named Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams in New York, and how she was just blowing New York up. She was talking about gossip, and we were like, we never heard of her, me and my girls. We never heard of anybody named Wendy. And one day, I woke up and she was on the radio with Carter and Sanborn in the morning here in Philly. And Carter and Sanborn ran the radio station here in Philly for years. And all of a sudden, I heard this black girl on the radio, and she sounded like a white girl, very much a white girl drag, but also New York, but she's originally from Jersey, but she had that New York accent. And you know, I was a fan ever since. I was just obsessed with her. She left Philly just as quickly as she came, with no announcement or anything, in true Wendy style and fashion. Again, Carter and Sanborn ran things here in Philly, and before you knew it, Carter and Sanborn was out and Wendy was all that we had in the morning time, and it was wonderful. She eventually brought in Charlemagne, and it was just magic with the two of them. It was just great. There was really no announcement of her coming, and there was no announcement of her leaving. We went on this whirlwind with her here in Philly, and then she was gone. You know, she had her miscarriages and her baby, and she was out of here. She went right back to New York because she wanted to be #1 in the market. And let me tell you something, I admire that. So the movie starts off with Wendy. We realize that she is an overweight child. This is no secret. Her parents put her on several diets to make her lose weight. I relate with Wendy Williams in many ways. She's extremely tall. She was extremely tall as a child, and I was extremely tall as a child, and I'm extremely tall as an adult. I'm almost 6'3". And you know, I was 5'8" in the 7th grade. I really was. So, you know, she was teased for being overweight and tall, and though I wasn't overweight, I was very thin. I was extremely tall, and I was teased for being tall, not to the extent I think she was. She was also told that she talked too much, too loud, and she was just overbearing. And me, I'm the same way. I've always been told that I talk too much and I was too loud, and you know, that can be a virtue, and it also can be, you know, something that's pretty hindering too. You know, constantly talking, you can definitely put your foot in your mouth, and I've done that more than once. She grows up to become a DJ, but she loves gossip and she loves scuttlebutt. And she wants to just talk about that. So she makes her move in her markets. She puts herself out there. She does what she has to do to get along. She does talk about a rape that took place with an R&B singer who, invited her to a party. She went back to his hotel and, he date raped her. And that was just so sad to see. She talks about meeting the love of her life, Kevin, who, protected her. And, with women, that's one of the things that we look for in a mate, somebody that can protect us. Now, remember, Wendy, it was in New York at the time, and she was talking about a lot of rappers. She was calling people gay. She was doing a lot of things that could get somebody hurt. She had the protection of her husband, Kevin, who had street cred, and he could protect her. It was put out there that no matter what Wendy said, nobody was going to touch her. She was untouchable. And that made her feel safe, and that made her deeply in love with her husband because, women like to feel secure and they like to feel safe. She eventually got fired. The rumor is, and I think she wrote this in her book, that she felt that Puffy got her fired because she was calling him gay, and she had to come here to Philly, which was to our benefit because we got to know her. She went back to New York, but Wendy is Wendy. And I remember one time here in Philly, she got into a terrible argument on the radio that I was listening to live with Flavor Flav, and it was horrible. And let me tell you, Flav gave it to Wendy, but let me tell you, honey, Wendy Williams gave it right back to Flav 100%. She was not shook, not one bit. And I just admired her for that. Also, they chronicle her infamous interview with Whitney Houston, where they end up like really getting into it, really scrapping on the phone, but ended up saying that they love each other and, basically called a truce. Wendy Williams had a drug problem. Some say that she still does, dip and dabble. We come to realize in the movie that Kevin is extremely controlling. He has a bad temper, and he takes it out on Wendy and the staff most of the time. She finally gets her big break on television, and he almost ruins it for her. He's just like a total jerk. Nobody likes him. When he comes on set, people feel, tense and they feel uneasy. It's a lot of anxiety through the air because he's very mean. He's just not a nice guy. Wendy is very open about catching Kevin in multiple affairs throughout their marriage. She always forgives him because he always begs for forgiveness. And she comes to realize that he's been having a 10-year affair with a woman named Nikki, who clearly he has feelings for and loves in addition to Wendy. And so even in Wendy's book, she says, and I remember reading this, that she can forgive an affair, but she can't forgive a baby. So that would be where she would draw the line with her husband. And sure enough, Wendy finds out that Kevin and this woman, Serena, aka Nikki, is having a baby. And it's devastating to her, completely devastating. And Wendy, we all know, is a crybaby, and even now she still cries over how broken her heart was to find out her husband conceived a child with another woman. Totally devastating, but it draws the line for Wendy Williams. She divorced Kevin. He won some money in the divorce because they did not have a prenuptial agreement. And, he went on to live his life with his new girlfriend and their child together. So let's get into how we feel about the movie. I thought the movie was awesome. It did feel rushed. This was one movie that could have went 3 hours for me. I felt if they slowed down the storyline and there was more character development, that, it would have been an easier story. It felt extremely rushed. Wendy is a talker. Ciara Payton narrates the movie in Wendy's voice. So the casting for Wendy with Ciara Payton was spot on. The casting with Kevin, played by Morocco Omari, was great. I think he did a good job. I think he looks similar to Kevin. And I think that Ciara, when they did her makeup, she looked similar to Wendy. And You know, I think she had a lot of her mannerisms. She really studied Wendy, and I think they did an awesome job telling her story. You know, again, this is a made-for-TV movie, so it's not going to be something that you would see on Netflix. It's a Lifetime movie. So it's told in a very light voice, even though there are some serious issues that take place here. Her rape, her miscarriages. You know, I did tear up on her miscarriages when her and Kevin were losing their babies, and especially when she had almost 5 months miscarriage and she had to deliver the baby and go through all the pushing and all of that to deliver a dead baby. That was very, very sad. Wendy's voice and the narration kind of would pick up even in the sad parts, and then next thing you know, something great was happening, and you kind of quickly get over one emotion and you have to go to the other. I felt like this was one of the movies that could have been a 3-hour movie, and I would have been just fine with it. There was a documentary afterwards, Wendy Williams, A Hot Mess, and I watched that too. And let me tell you, Wendy Williams had me captivated for 4 long hours, and I mean, I loved every minute of it. She has the gift of gab. She can talk, we all know that. Sometimes she says too much, sometimes she doesn't say enough. I think what was obvious in her life being parallel to the movie is that we all knew what was going on with her husband, and she did not acknowledge it. Here's the thing with Wendy Williams. She's an open book. She will tell you everything, but it has to be in her own time. And I think she was still processing what was going on in her life, and she wasn't ready to talk about it yet. But I knew, being a Wendy Williams fan, that she would talk about it. And when she did, she would give us all the tea, and she did. I don't think she went into as much as she could about the Serena and Kevin story. She left out a lot of details about her and her son fighting Kevin, which is okay, because what she said is that her son is off limits and she's not going to talk about him at all. And I assumed that that meant the fight with the father as well. And I definitely can respect that. You know, her mother just passed away, and her mother was a huge part of her life. And, you know, I think it's been difficult with her dealing with that. She seems to have forgiven Kevin, and, you know, they talked during the funeral and all of these other things. And, you know, she's going through something publicly with her brother, Tommy. And I think that, you know, him attacking her right now is not a good time to, you know, out your sister on anything, as much as she's been through. Listen, Wendy is iconic. Wendy is from the hip hop community, and we respect her. As much as, you know, she gets on people's nerves, we still listen, and we still want her story, and we still want her information. The wigs, thank you, wigs. This is how you do wigs. Those salt and pepper wigs, those Tyler Perry wigs, please throw them in the trash. Find out who did the production on the Wendy Williams movie, so they can show you how wigs are supposed to be done. I mean, bravo. So, you know, I'm glad to see some decent wigs for a change. Her styles were spot on. You know, her tight dresses, her huge boobs, her skinny, teeny, tiny waist. I totally enjoyed this movie. It is a made-for-TV movie. So, you know, if you're just looking for something to kick back and enjoy, of course, Wendy is going to give you everything you need. I give the Wendy Williams movie 7 remotes out of 10. It was enjoyable. I watched the whole thing. I watched the documentary after. I was totally entertained the whole time. I did feel that there were pieces missing of her life, but, you know, that's okay. You can't tell it all in 2 hours. But, you know, I don't think this is a guy's movie. I don't think that, you know, some guys, of course, are going to enjoy it, but I don't think that, you know, guys will be entertained by the Wendy Williams story. I think it's really a girl thing. I think that us girls are going to really enjoy something like this, especially if you're a fan. Let me know. Did you like the Wendy Williams story? Did you enjoy it? Did you watch it? Did you watch A Hot Mess after? Where she was a hot mess, blubbering and sniffling and crying all over the place, but that's our girl. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below. Did you watch it? Did you like it? Let me know. Wendy, 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 Wendy. And thank you so much for watching my channel. This is your girl, Big Ish with Black People Watch. Bye!